Hello, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee, and welcome to this video. Thank you for joining me today. This is the cute Daisy birthday card that we're making. Isn't it lovely? Bright and summery and happy, just like daisies are. So, let's make another one together, and we're going to do some stamping. This is the stamp set Cheerful Daisies, and it's a two-step stamp. So we're going to stamp the outline first, and then we're going to stamp the inside. So I'm just stamping the outside here. And you can see here I'm not stamping in, for once I'm not stamping in basic white because I didn't want there to be a harsh outline with my stamp set. So let me see what colour. I'm stamping actually in Petunia Pop, and just going to take my third flower here, and there we go, stamp that. Lovely. Now we're ready to stamp the inside, and for that I'm going to use some, well actually first I'm going to stamp my sentiment here, sorry. So I'm just going to use my grid paper to line everything up. And I'm going to stamp this in Petunia Pop as well. And I'm going to set that aside. And then close up my ink pad. Bring in my other one. As I said, it's pretty in pink. And now we're going to stamp the insides of our flowers. And I'm just lining this up before I use it, just to make sure I know where it's meant to go. Ink that up nicely and then down. Your head needs to be straight over your stamp set. So you're looking straight through the stamp, and that will help you to line up your stamp properly. So don't try and do it sideways. You'll struggle. Look straight through that stamp set and you're much more likely to get things properly lined up. So you can see here again, sorry my head's in the camera, but you do need to look straight through that stamp set to line everything up correctly. Okay, so we're just going to do the last little piece here and just going to ink it up nicely, look straight through, and there we go. There is our flowers stamped. And now we're just going to die cut these out using the matching dies. And you can see here I'm just going to use that little rectangle for the sentiment, and of course all of the flower dies. And now I'm stamping the insides of my flowers, the centers. I did this later so I could make sure that the center was in exactly the right place to match my die cut. Normally I would do it the other way around. I always stamp and then die cut, but for that flower center I wanted to make sure that I had the flower center lined up properly with my die cut. So I did it the opposite way around for once. And I'm just doing the flower centers again in a deep Petunia Pop. Okay, so now we've clear our decks and we're ready to assemble our card. So let's start. Our card base is thick basic white. So that's a standard A6 card base. That's an A4 sheet cut in half and then folded in half. And then I've got a piece here of balmy blue designer series paper that measures 14.35 centimeters by 10. And I've put this through the eyelet embossing folder. Now, all of the supply list, the measurements, etc., will be on the blog post on my website. And the link to that and all my social media links are in the description box below. So I'm just going to add a little piece here of basic white, designer series paper, and I'm going to mat it on just a tiny piece of a scrap of basic white, and I'm just going to mat it at the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to cut this out now. And I believe the designer series paper I used here was the Meandering Meadows, and the piece measured 10 by 7.5 centimeters. And I'm just got that little, wanted to have that little bit of border along the top and the bottom, so it helped to pop from the balmy blue background. Okay, so there we go. So let's just glue that down quickly. Just using some Tombow Mono adhesive. There we go, lovely. Now we're ready to decide where we want to put up sentiment. And I'm just going to pop that up using dimensionals, and I'm just using here the edges of the dimensionals. They're all good dimensions, so don't waste them. Use up every piece of your dimensional sheet and take the backings off, and I'm just going to put this at the bottom here. Now I know where my sentiment's going to go. Now I can arrange my flowers on top, and I need a little bit of foliage to do that, so I'm using the bow punch here, and I'm just using my scrap here of basic white cardstock and using all of that paper there to punch out as much as I can our foliage. Now we're going to just arrange our flowers. And I'm just seeing what I did before, what I popped up and what I left flat. And I'm just going to pop everything up. I'm just going to put one dimensional in the center. I can put more in later, and I possibly will, but this way allows me the ability to tuck and decide where I want all my foliage to go without having to rip up my flowers again. So now that I've got my flowers down, now I'm going to decide where I want my foliage. And you can see here, I can tuck it in easily and just layer it up without having to worry about hitting any adhesive. So that's why I only put a single dimensional on the back of my flowers. So I'm just going to go around and decide where I want my foliage pieces to go, find something that I'm happy with, and then I'm just going to stick these down with some little bit of Tombow. I should say, if you're enjoying this video, I'd be grateful if you would give it a thumbs up so YouTube know. And do please subscribe. It really helps my videos become more visible on YouTube, and I would really appreciate it. So that will be marvelous. Okay, so I'm just got a bit of glue where it wasn't meant to go. So just wipe that away. And my last pieces here of my foliage. There we go. And now you can see I am going to go in with my dimensionals, and I'm just putting a few in just to make sure that my dimension is even and that nothing is going to sag, which is nothing worse than a saggy card. And so I'm just going in here, putting on there and just making sure everything is nicely popped up. And of course, I must have glue on my fingers and wanting to stick to me. However hard I try, I seem to always get glue on my fingers. It just seems to be one of those problems. I don't know why. Tell me, do you always get glue on your fingers when you're making cards, or was it just me who's a clumsy crafter? There we go. So there are our two cards. So now we're just going to add a little bit of embellishments. And I'm just using some good old-fashioned rhinestones. One of my favourite embellishments. It's been around for ages, but it's a goodie. And I'm just using these for my flower centres. And then I'm just going to add a few just dotted here and there around my card. So there we go. So they're the two cards. I hope you like them. Thank you for watching, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye.